I'm going to show you how I completely upgraded the look of my windows for less than $50 each. This was way easier than it looks, and it gives my home the perfect finishing touch. I love the character this brings to my living room, and trust me, if I can do it, you can too. We did this to all of our windows on this main floor, so the first window, I'll walk you through exactly how we did it, and during the second window, I'll tell you everything I learned and what not to do when making this trim. So let's get started. You guys always ask me, why don't you have trim around your windows? And I've never even thought about it, to be honest. I don't think it's standard here in Colorado, so I'm curious. Do you guys have it in your home? Did you do it yourselves, or did it come with your house? Honestly, I've been living in Colorado for most of my life, and none of my houses that I've lived in have had internal window trim. And I love the way that it looks, and I don't know why. I've never even thought about putting it in ourselves, but that is what we're gonna do today. I'm so excited. We just got back from Home Depot. So Nick is just cutting the boards outside right now. And I am just getting everything ready in here because I'm gonna start caulking and painting pretty much as soon as they go up. First, we use the Dremel tool to cut out a board 2 inches longer than the depth of the windowsill. A jigsaw would work better than this, but ours broke during our last project. So this is gonna act as our windowsill essentially. So we splurged and got a little higher quality of wood for this piece than we did for the other pieces we used. We cut it to fit the inside of the windowsill, and we left 2 inches hanging over the front and 4 inches overlaying the sides. I'm using a brad nailer to secure all these boards in, and I'll link the one I use down below. It's a Craftsman, and I honestly find myself using this and our sander in almost every project we do. It comes in handy so much. Once that main piece is nailed in, it's time to start building on from there. You can get creative here and use different sizes that you prefer or that just fit better in your space. But for us, I found that these size boards give a very timeless look, and they looked very proportionate to one another. So for the side, we used a 1x3 board and cut it to fit the length of our window. Then we put a 1x2 board face down on top of that and left a 1-inch overlay hanging off the sides. On top of that board, we put a 1x4 board and then added another 1x2 face down on the top. We also added a 1x4 board on the bottom as well. And those 1x4s are cut the same length as the window plus the 2 sideboards. I'm filling in all the cracks and nail holes with wood filler, and then I'm sanding everything smooth with 100 grit sandpaper. I'm getting the entire surface of the wood and the corners to round them out just so they're not as sharp. I have kids, so that's really important for me. And I'm also sanding the texture off of the drywall so it's smooth and it appears to be one seamless board after we paint everything. Once everything is sanded, I started caulking using this stuff. I just made sure it was meant for windows to get a proper seal. On this window, I put the tape on before I caulked, but after doing them all, I found better finishing results if you caulk first, wait for it to dry, then add tape, then paint. And this is what I'm using to prime. This was a little thicker than the paint and kind of acted as a glue, so the paint lasts longer and just stays better. And then I'm using this to paint over the top. This was just a white color and a satin finish. I used a quart each, and that covered all the trim on the whole main floor. The first layer I'm using an angled brush to paint so that way I can get in all the corners really easily, but I'm making sure I go over it with this cabinet roller. This is what gives you a smooth finish and really makes a difference in the overall paint and look of the whole window. Another thing I noticed that helped me get a good finish was just taking my time. When I was caulking, I had a wet washcloth with me to wipe away any imperfections. I made sure to sand any bumps or grooves smooth, and I took my time to go over multiple times with the sander.
I even put texture on the walls, honestly. So these walls are so satisfying. And especially when the paint is over, this is gonna look so good. If we were to spend the money to buy panels for the inside, it was gonna be twice as much money. So I'm so glad that we didn't do that, because I think this is gonna look really good when it's all painted.
One thing I learned not to do that I wanted to share with you is taking the tape off too late. For this particular window, I left the tape on overnight while it was drying, and that was just way too long. The tape kept getting stuck, and I had to peel off tiny little bits out of the caulk, and it was just very tedious. So make sure to take the tape off, I would say about 30 minutes to an hour after you paint, while everything is still tacky. You don't want to do it while it's still really wet, or else the paint will look like it dripped through the tape. So wait for it to dry a little bit, but not all the way. Another thing that I made a mistake on, and you shouldn't do, is wait for the paint to completely dry before adding more coats on. You should wait a little bit for it to dry, but in order to get that smooth finish in the end, I notice it's important to go over the brush strokes with the roller before it dries completely. Here is what we started with. Our windows felt so dull, and I definitely felt like something was missing in here. And here is the finished result. So much character was added, and I can't even believe this transformation, you guys. I should have done this a lot sooner, and I managed to do each window for under $50 each. It was totally worth it because it completely upgraded my living room. I will leave the price breakdown and the links to all of the wood and the materials I used in the description. Like I said, you guys, if I can do it, you can too. Thank you to everyone for suggesting that I add this trim around my windows, because it's not standard where I live, and it's not something that ever even crossed my mind, but now I can't even imagine this space without it. If you're new here, I would love to have you subscribe and stick around. I post all kinds of home-related videos, including tons of home makeovers, decorating, and decluttering videos. We're on a journey to turn our average new build house into a pretty and practical home, and I'd love to have you here along for the ride. Be sure to like this video and leave a comment if you can. Even if it's one small emoji, it just really helps me out, and it helps get my videos pushed out even more, which is truly the best way to support me. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you in the next one. Bye.